Euphoria on HBO Max just ended its second season, and boy was it a dramatic one. The show about the very messy and emotional lives of teenagers has captivated audiences all over, and the accolades that the show has gotten is numerous. And while it may seem like a very straightforward kind of show to make, that couldn't be farther from the truth. After all, the cast have to go deep into their emotional cores in order to find out what they need to act the scenes out right. And that's only one layer. So allow us to show you Euphoria, 8 shocking behind-the-scenes moments. Number 8. Zendaya on being Rue. It's very easy to look at the job Zendaya has done as Rue in Euphoria and the Academy Award she got for it, and say she was born to do this role. But once upon a time, she was actually really nervous about doing this character. Not something you would expect to hear about her, right? But Zendaya's nerves didn't come from her reservations about the role. She was immediately enamored with Euphoria after reading the script. Instead, the Dune actor was concerned about doing the role justice. She wanted to execute Rue to the best of her abilities and put a lot of pressure on herself to succeed. "I was really nervous because I wanted to do well," she said about Euphoria. "It's like going from nothing to everything. There were no steps in between. That's why people think it's such a stretch for me to play this character. There's a lot of people who probably think I can't do it because they don't truly understand my personality. And I get it, I'm a Disney kid. There's a lot to prove." Zendaya has said many times that while she is grateful for her time on Disney, including headlining her own show via KC Undercover, she didn't want to be held to those kinds of roles. And Euphoria is well and truly as far as you can get from Disney. And she not only pulled it off, but pulled it off in spades. Ironically, Euphoria creator Sam Levinson always knew Zendaya could handle the role. "He took a risk on me, but he doesn't see it that way," she shared about Levinson. "He would always say, 'Yo, Z, I'm not worried about you.' I appreciate that." And indeed, she has done incredibly well as Rue, and no one would say otherwise. You know, except the haters. Number 7. Trust between cast and crew. Sydney Sweeney is another star on the show, and she revealed how much trust she had in the team behind the camera, and it was very revealing. Pun intended. In an interview with The Independent, the 24-year-old who stars as Cassie Howard in Euphoria revealed she asked producers to cut some of her character's nude scenes, which she says director Sam Levinson has supported. According to the actress in the latest season of the HBO hit, there are moments where Cassie was supposed to be shirtless, and I would tell Sam, "I don't really think that's necessary here." And he was like, "Okay, we don't need it." "I've never felt like Sam has pushed it on me or was trying to get a nude scene into an HBO show. When I didn't want to do it, he didn't make me," she added. "I've had experiences where I want to go home and scrub myself completely raw because I feel disgusting. I didn't feel comfortable with my castmate or the crew, and I just didn't feel like my character would be doing it," she said of the situation. "That made me even more self-conscious. I didn't feel like I was able to speak up." Now that is huge for a show like this because as fans of a certain other HBO show knows, at times the crew behind the camera can be a bit direct in what they want from nude scenes, and it can affect the cast as a result. And Euphoria definitely seemed built to be a show that was like that. But it's not, and for that, we should be grateful, because if the cast wasn't comfortable doing a show like this, it wouldn't be as big a hit as it is now. Number 6. Preparing a mixtape. When it comes to a show like Euphoria, it's not just about the acting, it's about setting a tone for things. And Jen Malone, the music supervisor for the series, noted in an interview that because music is so important to the show, that she made the soundtrack as if it was a mixtape. The show is almost like a mixtape that we give to our audience. Like in the same way that everybody shares music, you know, a friend will be like, "Oh my god, this song is so dope, you have to listen to it." And then it enters your personal playlist, right? So in a way, it's like we're sharing Sam's mixtape to the audience. Cal's prologue episode was actually among Jen's favorite episodes to work on because of the heavy 80s-90s influence. It was very exciting to assemble a playlist and work with our editor Laura Zempel on that episode to put it all together because a lot of the songs in that prologue are just my favorite songs. Depeche Mode, Echo and the Bunnymen, and of course, INXS. Yet another case of a person having fun on the show. Isn't that great? Number 5. Leo. Now, when the show was still relatively unknown, Leonardo DiCaprio revealed himself to be one of the first fans in a red carpet interview. The cast was so excited with this news that they created a group chat to rave about DiCaprio's praise of the show. Barbie Ferreira even made customized t-shirts with the quoted compliment for the cast. Now that for them must have put them on top of the world. Having one of the biggest actors around praise your show, that is life-changing. Number 4. Auditioning. A lot. Despite seeming like she was made for the role of Kat Hernandez, Barbie Ferreira actually had to audition 7 times before she was given the part. The producers wanted to make sure that the show had a perfect cast of actors in terms of both their acting abilities and their perceived chemistry with others. To be fair, this happens on all sorts of other shows. Just look up the casting process for Stranger Things if you want a real head-turner. And in the end, she did get the role, and that is what matters. Number 3. Euphoric. To not be homeless. In an interview with Wonderland magazine, Jacob Elordi confesses that he was practically homeless during the time he auditioned for the show. He didn't have any money or professional management. He even forgot his lines at the casting call, but luckily the producers saw through to his natural acting talent. This is what you might call one of those fate moments, because by all logic, he shouldn't have made it. But he did, and as a result, he's doing pretty well for himself, and now has a very big show to put on his resume. Number 2. Improv. The emotionally scathing fight scene between Rue and her mother was completely improvised by Zendaya and Nika King. According to IMDb, Sam Levinson told the actresses to go at each other's necks for the scene, but wasn't prepared for how aggressive the result would be. Levinson ended up having to leave the set after shooting the 3rd take. Talk about having faith in your cast, right? There are some showrunners out there who go and make sure that everything is scripted and refuse to do improv because it would ruin their vision. But here, Levinson encouraged it. That's honestly pretty cool, and again shows the faith that he had in the cast. Number 1. Just behind Game of Thrones. Once upon a time, there was a show called Game of Thrones, and it was good. Up until season 8 and parts of 7. But the reason it was so impactful for HBO was that it was their most viewed show by a country mile. They had hits in the past, but nothing like Game of Thrones. So when it ended a few years back, people were wondering what show would fill the void. That answer? It's Euphoria. Because by the end of season 2, it became the 2nd most watched series ever on HBO, right behind Game of Thrones. Think about that. Think about the stark differences between these two franchises, and yet Euphoria has come up right to it. That just goes to show you the quality, talent, and hard work that everyone put in to make this show what it is. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at Euphoria and how the cast and crew came together to make something that was truly special and hopefully will continue to be special as it likely heads into season 3? Were you emotionally drained after the season 2 finale? Where do you think the show can go in its 3rd season? And where do you want it to go in its 3rd season? Let us know in the comments below, and we will see you next time on the channel.